big game coming up, Gab. England legend Stuart Pearce is joining us now. Pearce, a very good morning. How are you, mate?
Morning, Piercey.
All well, gentlemen. All well.
Brilliant. Listen, mate, in true British football fan style, the campaign hasn't even started yet. The manager's getting it. Saka's getting it. Declan Rice is getting it. Sack a lot of them, I say. Where do you sit in it, mate?
Here. I'm right behind you, mate. You know, in fact, I was getting a petition up to sack the pair of you, actually, as we were speaking. You know?
That'll get a few more signatures, I can guarantee you.
Exactly. My cup overfloweth at this end. Don't worry about that.
I'll tell you what, though, Pierce, it is a great game to look forward to tonight. And I was asking with Faye on earlier on, you know, a couple of great games, obviously, Italy and in the Ukraine. Is that the best way to start the campaign? I personally think it is.
If you win it, it is, Ali. I've got to say. If you don't, I've been sat in on fixtures meetings before, because quite often you go to the draw, and then after the draw at these events, you have a fixture meeting to decide when you all play each other as such. And I don't think either Italy or England really would have wanted to play each other first off, you know. But if we go and get a point or win the game here, I think we'll be absolutely delighted we got this one under our belt, and you're in charge of the group in many ways.
Piercy, you know a lot more than me, picking teams and management.
I'm glad you've realised that.
Yeah, I just found out, to be fair, today.
In general.
About everything, Piercy, everything in life. But a lot of people are talking about, you know, mixing up the teams and experimenting. Maybe not tonight, but Sunday against Ukraine. Is Sunday a game that, if you was manager, you would give Tony a start? You would give Maddison a start in the number 10 role? Or do you think, no, you just play your strongest team for both games?
I think there's times where you go in as a manager when you've got two games in close contention, and you look at it and you look at all the players, like how many games have they played for their clubs. All of those type of things come in. But I think when you're trying to start a campaign, this one, he'll obviously go as strong as he possibly can in this. And I think what he'll do is after the game, sit with his coaches the following day and then probably start to have a look at Sunday rather than have a look at a block of two.
Yeah.
I think it's too important for that. If it was me, I would go strong as you possibly can, see how the result pans out on this one, and then make your judgment call and see how the players look and form will guide it a little bit. I think the one thing I would say, Gab, is a lot of players, I can name quite a few of our lineup that are on particularly good form at their clubs at the moment.
Yes.
You know, you're looking at sort of Saka. I think Foden and Grealish are both showing pretty good form as well. And you know, there's a lot of players showing really good form. I think Luke Shaw's playing very, very well, whether he plays at centre half or left back for his club. He's playing extremely well. So that bodes well for Gareth.
Pierce, let me read you this. Ahead of Italy versus England live in talkSPORT, West Ham and three-line star Declan Rice has hit back at recent criticism from Graeme. Souness, the Liverpool legend turned pundit, hit out at Rice's lack of productivity in an attacking sense, saying he doesn't have the creativity and eye for goals to be considered a complete midfielder. Rice has responded saying, I think it's harsh because Souness doesn't watch West Ham every week. 60,000 West Ham fans go every week and see what I do, but Souness was a top midfielder, and when someone like him speaks, you have to sometimes listen. And obviously Roy, meaning Roy Keane, I imagine, as well. Now, I remember you and I having a conversation, Pierce, and I've got to say, I'm a massive fan of Declan Rice. But does Graeme have a point in forward areas?
I think he does in some ways, Ali. I've got to say, I mean, the stats are there for all to see. You can't turn around and say, look, you know, he's not scored a great amount of goals. Yes, he plays slightly deeper for West Ham and England, by the way. But I don't ever remember Dave at West Ham saying to him, look, I don't want you ever to go forward. I think I would see it as a compliment if I was Declan, to be honest with you. I would say, listen, if the likes of Keane and Souness, which are absolutely outstanding midfield players, you know, in the generations they played, outstanding, think that I as a player, if I was Declan, I as a player can improve, I would think, wow, that is a pat on the back of the highest order. And I think sometimes when people of that ilk and that ability actually talk, they're doing it for a reason, actually, and they're doing it from a baseline of good knowledge as well. So I would take it on board as a compliment if I was Dec.
And then tonight he's running forward past Harry Kane with the ball piercing, trying to score worldie.
The camera shoots to Gareth, who's got his head in his hands in the dugout.
Exactly.
But I take your point, Pearce. I actually do take your point, because I mean, if you're of that ability and that, you know, capable of doing stuff, Graeme and Roy will talk about you. If you're not, they'd really give you a mention, mate, to be honest. So I think you make a very valid point, mate.
And that applies to coaches as well. You spend so much time with players that embrace and listen to what you're saying, and secondly, players that you think there's a vast amount of improvement there. So you give them your time and attention because you know that they've not ceilinged out in their ability. You know.
You watch clips as well on social media that England post, and there was one this week of Declan Rice doing finishing, and he's hitting top corners, bottom corners. He can do it, can't he, Rice? He can finish, can't he?
He certainly can. As I say, I've seen him in practice at West Ham when he joins the shooting process and whatever. He can finish. He's got the ability to find several different finishes. He's got power in his finishing as well. So he has got that, and he's also got the ability to get from box to box. He's an athlete as well, that can power past people. So that's why the likes of Keane and Suey have turned round and made statements like they have, I think.
Pierce, where are you with the kind of Kalvin Phillips scenario? I mean, it's kind of split opinion, and the one thing that hasn't split opinion, I think we're in agreement, and I said to Gabby 2 minutes ago, I definitely don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, and that's Gareth showing loyalty to players who aren't necessarily playing week in, week out.
Yeah, a couple of things on Kalvin. What I would say is this season's been a little bit of a disappointment for varying reasons. I think there's been opportunities where Pep has had the opportunity to put him in the team and play him and give him minutes, and he's turned that opportunity down. So I always think, well, he knows more than we do. You know, he works with him on a daily basis. So, but I've got to say, I wouldn't start him in the game. I've got to say, I don't think he's got enough game time for his club. I'm pleased he's in the squad. He's a valuable member of the squad because the position he plays, and you won't realise how valuable he is until Deck gets injured.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.